On the eve of the second anniversary of the June 17th raid on the offices of the National Council of Resistance of Iran in Paris, former French First Lady Danielle Mitterand, President of France Liberté Foundation, met and held talks with Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, President should encourage the resistance vis-à-vis the religious dictatorship ruling Iran. Mrs. Mitterand declared, "Since 1981, when France under President François Mitterrand granted political asylum to Mr. Masoud Rajavi, I have always expressed my support for your resistance and for freedom, and I have been deeply worried by the serious, systematic and persistent violation of human rights in Iran." The former French First Lady added, "The Iranian regime's policy of exporting terrorism and fundamentalism while trying to obtain nuclear weapons presents a crucial danger to peace and stability in the area and the world. But we must avoid war and foreign military intervention by encouraging the Iranian people to bring about the democratic change for which they yearn. For this reason, we must support the solution proposed by Mrs. Maryam Rajavi." Mrs. Mitterand said, "I found in Maryam Rajavi a perfectly qualified person to lead and to achieve such a democratic change, especially as she has played such an irreplaceable part in the promotion of the status of women, and I believe that the majority of French share this conviction with me." Referring to the psychological warfare orchestrated by the Iranian regime with the support of some of its French interlocutors against the National Council of Resistance and the People's Mujahideen of Iran, Mrs. Mitterand said, "I am very familiar with this negative propaganda and baseless smear campaigns. We were being accused of terrorism and sectarianism at the time of our resistance against Hitler's fascism. But fortunately, public opinion does not believe these allegations. A case in point are the 2.8 million Iraqis who have testified that during their 20-year presence in Iraq, the Iranian Mujahideen have acted with political integrity and honor and have waged legitimate resistance for freedom and democracy in their country." Mrs. Maryam Rajavi thanked Mrs. Mitterand for her support for the Iranian people and resistance, and referred to the similar position that her late husband, François Mitterrand, had. She said, "The Iranian people and resistance will never forget the intervention by François Mitterrand to prevent the execution of Masoud Rajavi in 1972. When he had been condemned to death by the military tribunals of the Shah's regime. His message of condolences when Ashraf Rajavi was slain in Iran in 1982, his objections to the deals being made with the mullahs against the Iranian opposition, and his support for Iranian refugees when they were sent into exile in Gabon in 1987. Just as your presence in Auvers-sur-Oise, a day after the events of June 17, 2003, and your expression of indignation at those raids will remain forever in our memory." She went on to say the Iranian people find in the person of Danielle Mitterand the alert conscience of a freedom-loving people of France, a great lady who has never hesitated to speak out every time our resistance finds itself the victim of an injustice. Mr. Jean-Pierre Becker, the mayor of Auvers-sur-Oise, greeted Mrs. Mitterand at the residence of Mrs. Rajavi and welcomed her to the town. At the end of the meeting, several mothers and children of martyrs of the Iranian resistance met Mrs. Mitterand to describe to her the crimes committed against their families in Iran by the mullah's regime. Mrs. Mitterand expressed hope that the suffering of the Iranian people would come to an